Chapter 17. Damascus. A pile of dust and rubble. A message concerning Damascus. Watch this. Damascus undone as a city, a pile of dust and rubble. Her towns emptied of people. The sheep and goats will move in and take over the towns, as if they owned them, which they will. Not a sign of a forest is left in Ephraim, not a trace of government left in Damascus. What's left of Aram? The same as what's left of Israel, not much. Decree of God of the angel armies. The day is coming when Jacob's robust splendor goes pale, and his well-fed body turns skinny. The country will be left empty, picked clean as a field harvested by field hands. Shall be like a few stalks of barley left standing in the lush valley of Rephaim after harvest, or like the couple of ripe olives overlooked in the top of the olive tree, or the 4 or 5 apples that the pickers couldn't reach in the orchard. Decree of the God of Israel. Yes, the day is coming when people will notice the one who made them. Take a long, hard look at the Holy of Israel. They'll lose interest in all the stuff they've made altars and monuments and rituals, their homemade, handmade religion, however impressive it is. And yes, the day is coming when their fortress cities will be abandoned, the very same cities that the Hivites and Amorites abandoned when Israel invaded, and the country will be empty, desolate. And why? Because you have forgotten God, your salvation, not remembered your rock of refuge. And so even though you are very religious, planting all sorts of bushes and herbs and trees to honor and influence your fertility gods, and even though you make them grow so well, bursting with buds and sprouts and blossoms, nothing will come of them. Instead of a harvest, you'll get nothing but grief and pain. 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 Oh my, thunder. A thundering herd of people, thunder like the crashing of ocean waves, nations roaring like the roar of a massive waterfall, roaring like a deafening Niagara. But God will silence them with a word, and then he'll blow them away like dead leaves off a tree, like down from a thistle. At bedtime, terror fills the air. By morning, it's gone, not a sign of it anywhere. This is what happens to those who would ruin us. This is the fate of those out to get us. Isaiah chapter 18. Doomed to the land of flies and mosquitoes beyond the Ethiopian rivers, shipping emissaries all over the world, down rivers and across seas. So swift messengers go to this people, tall and handsome, this people held in respect everywhere, this people mighty and merciless, from the land crisscrossed with rivers. Everybody, everywhere, all earth dwellers. When you see a flag flying on the mountain, look. When you hear the trumpet blown, listen. For here's what God told me. I'm not going to say anything, but simply look on from where I live. Quiet as warmth that comes from the sun, silent as dew during harvest. And then, just before harvest, after the blossom has turned into a maturing grape, he'll step in and prune back the new shoots, ruthlessly hack off all the growing branches. He'll leave them piled on the ground for birds and animals to feed on. Fodder for the summering birds, fodder for the wintering animals. Then tribute will be brought to the God of the angel armies, brought from this people, tall and handsome, this people once held in respect everywhere, this people once mighty and merciless, from the land crisscrossed with rivers to Mount Zion, God's place. Isaiah chapter 19, a message concerning Egypt. Watch this. God riding on a fast-moving cloud, moving in on Egypt. The god idols of Egypt shudder and shake, Egyptians paralyzed by panic. God says, I'll make Egyptian fight Egyptian. Brother fight brother, neighbor fight neighbor, city fight city, kingdom fight kingdom, anarchy and chaos and killing. I'll knock the wind out of the Egyptians. They won't know coming from going. They'll go to their god idols for answers. They'll conjure ghosts and hold seances, desperate for answers. But I'll turn the Egyptians over to a tyrant most cruel. I'll put them under the rule of a mean, merciless king. Decree of the master, God of the angel armies. The river Nile will dry up, the riverbed baked dry in the sun. The canals will become stagnant and stink, every stream touching the Nile dry up. A river vegetation will rot away, the banks of the Nile baked clay, the riverbed hard and smooth, river grasses dried up and gone with the wind. Fishermen will complain that the fishing's been ruined. Textile workers will be out of work. All weavers and workers in linen and cotton and wool, dispirited, depressed in their forced idleness. Everyone who works for a living jobless. The princes of Zoan are fools, the advisors of Pharaoh stupid. How could any of you dare tell Pharaoh, trust me, I'm wise. I know what's going on. Why I'm descended from the old wisdom of Egypt? There's not a wise man or woman left in the country. If there were, one of them would tell you what God of the angel armies has in mind for Egypt. As it is, the princes of Zoan are all fools, and the princes of Memphis idiots. The honored pillars of your society have led Egypt into detours and dead ends. God has scrambled their brains. Egypt's become a falling down in his own vomit drunk. Egypt's hopeless past helping, a senile, doddering old fool. On that day, Egyptians will be like hysterical schoolgirls, screaming at the first hint of action from God of the angel armies. Little Judah will strike terror in Egyptians. Say Judah to an Egyptian and see panic. The word triggers fear of the God of the angel armies' plan against Egypt. On that day, more than one city in Egypt will learn to speak the language of faith and promise.